Hello and welcome to the 8th episode of Cultural Connection. Yay! We do have a guest today. Let's all hold on, drum roll, guys. Our guest today, welcome to the stage, Jason Derulo.
Let's get it.
Woo!
Is he gonna crawl on all fours?
Why do you want him to crawl on
That's
all
the freaking
fours?
video.
No,
No, that video. Weren't you the one that sent it to everyone?
No, you're just a furry.
Yeah, I
cat.
am.
Yeah, you're
Furry.
just
Exactly.
Do you
Anyway.
want him to crawl on all
No,
fours?
I don't want him to crawl on all fours.
Are you sure? You're the one who mentioned it.
You're the
I
one
know,
who kept
he's a
sending
furry.
it to everyone.
No.
Yes. Anyway.
Anyways, can we get a saying from Jason Derulo here?
Can we get a what?
Can you say something, Jason Derulo?
Can I say something? Yeah, probably.
Probably.
He has spoken.
What kind of
No,
things can you
I-
say?
I have spoken.
What kind of
Okay.
what?
What kind of things can you say?
What kind of things can I say? I can say all kinds of things. I could say like.
Oh.
Oh god.
When you say your name.
I want to stop this
Let
before
me
it actually
reread the rules.
happens.
Real
Hold
quick.
on, hold on.
Let me reread the rules real quick.
It's okay. I don't follow the rules.
Hold up.
and I'm the one who made them.
Hold up. No, there's not really a lot of things I can say.
Okay. All jokes aside, let's all welcome Nick. I don't know your last name. But I'm sure.
It's
Lydia.
Nick Lydiac.
Oh,
Yay.
Welcome.
whoa.
Okay. Yay.
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 Can you state your grade and nationality, ethnicity, race?
Yeah. So here in about a week and a half, I'll be going into my senior year, and I am white. A lot of my family is from more towards the middle of Europe, like the Czech Republic, and my family moved here in the early 1800s into Galveston, and then
We didn't ask for your life story.
It's so rude.
So rude.
I was just giving some background.
What a
on my
terrible
ethnicity,
host.
but that's fine. I
Exactly.
just kidding.
Kenneth as host again.
Kenneth has hose?
No.
I don't have hose. Thank you very much.
we know that that's not true.
I hope you don't have hose.
I don't have hose.
As
It's Nick.
I am
What?
the
Nick
host.
is his hose. Nick is his hose. Dang, guys. Kinda...
wow, I didn't know that.
Jesus, sorry, Trang.
Sorry, Trent.
My bad. I didn't know either.
I didn't know that either.
Anyways, let's get a little bit serious, guys.
All right.
Yeah, it seems like
Sorry.
today's today's topic is pretty serious.
It is. So today we will
Yeah.
be discussing how fucking stupid the Texas Senate is.
Yeah, no,
Great choice of words. Thank you.
You're
She's
so
not wrong. She is.
no, she's not.
It's literally in the script.
I know I'm not wrong. If you did not know, all of us here, including our guests, are residing in Texas.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
Right.
recently a Senate bill has been passed, and it includes limits to what is obligated to be taught in students K through 12. Of course, this definitely applies to all of us here because we're all high schoolers at the moment. Not only that, but at least I here care very deeply for the future of education across all grades.
So what exactly is this bill that we're talking about today? Because I have no idea.
So the bill that we are talking about today is the Texas Senate Bill 3. This bill is beginning to put restrictions on critical race theory, civil rights, and even condemning the KKK to be morally wrong. Historical readings such as Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech and Letter from a Birmingham Jail will be dropped from required teaching. From the articles that I have read, it is to be in effect in September, I believe. I try to do as much research as I can, but for some reason, not a lot of things were very concrete or straightforward about it. As of now,
because they know it's wrong, so they're not gonna give the specifics.
Exactly. But as of now, the bill is stalled because the House doesn't have enough minimum requirement of Democrats, since they're off in Washington doing God knows what. There is to be a special session on August 6th, but just looking at the vote of 18-4, I'm getting kind of worried. Sorry for such a lengthy informational, but here I am, as always, to kick us off with a question. So, do you guys think that this bill will actually affect teachings in the classroom?
No.
I mean,
No, because okay, in very few classrooms, because I don't think that there are a lot of teachers who are going to hear this bill and be like, oh, okay, I don't have to teach it anymore. I know, especially like there was a board of teachers in San Antonio that were like, we're not doing this. Like, we're still going to teach the same things because this is history. You can't just skip over massive portions of history because you don't want to make white people look bad, or you don't want to I don't know, what do they say? Teach the kids that, certain groups of people are bad.
Right.
So I don't think teachers are really going to conform to it personally, but maybe in a couple classrooms.
I agree with that because I actually hold on, I can't remember, but in my English classroom, I think we all had the same English teacher. I mean, except for Samantha.
Well, no, just me, you, and Kenneth.
Oh, okay. Well, we have an English teacher who is very, very passionate. He's a very passionate man. I can respect that.
I think we name dropped him before.
Yeah, we already did. Mr. KP Daniels.
Mr. Daniels.
Mr. Daniels. We'll leave out anything else.
I've heard nothing but bad things. Not bad things, but like weird things.
He's just
a little weird.
He's very passionate, but he's also very informed.
Yeah, there you go. So he was actually somebody brought him this question asking about what is going to happen like whenever they do pass this bill. And he was like nothing. Like, as a teacher, personally himself, he's going to teach whatever the fuck he wants, because it's not like there's going to be police outside his door like watching every even if it was like even if it was like banned to teach like critical race theory and things like that, like he'll still teach it anyways, because it's not like people are going in and out of his classroom knowing what he teaches and things like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I was gonna say something about that because I mean, like, there are already, I suppose, I don't know, there probably are already things that you're not, quote unquote, not supposed to teach, or like restrictions on what you're supposed to teach in the classroom that probably many teachers talk about anyway. I mean, like, hell, like freaking freshman year in my world geography class, we talked about vaginas. Like, I don't know why. I don't.
Oh, that took a turn.
What kind of class were you in?
Yeah, I don't know. Are you sure? Are you sure you were in?
No, it was world geography. World geography. No, it's just because we just had like discussions, right? And then things would go anywhere.
Oh,
things,
no, that's true.
Yeah, things would go anywhere, and then a topic is brought up. Technically, you're still teaching it, right?
Mhm.
Because if you're talking about it, then you're talking about it. That's teaching, supposedly.
Mhm.
So I mean, like, whatever happens, and like you said, there's not gonna be somebody with a gun to your head. You don't say something about Martin Luther King because, whatever.
Yeah, and it's not like, even if they take it out of the curriculum, it's not going to stop, like what you said, like with discussions. It's not going to stop the teacher from just like mentioning it and talking about it. Because like in my world history class this year, we would talk about one thing and then end up on a completely different topic. So I mean, like you can't stop the teacher from just like mentioning it, and then it goes like past that, and then you get more in depth, and then you're basically still teaching it.
Kids are curious. Kids ask questions.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like
I don't think. Oh, go. You can go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like this bill doesn't affect like your school life, but what it does affect is basically telling us, the teachers and like the students, that this topic isn't important. That's why you don't have to teach it anymore, which is not true at all, because it's a very important topic that every kid should be taught, and so that history doesn't repeat itself.
Exactly.
And the fact that they're hiding their mistakes just makes it feel like they're protecting the white supremacy.
Supremacist.
Supremacist.
Yeah, we know.
Supremacist.
I don't think realistically it makes sense. I don't know how you can talk about history. I mean, especially when you get to
U.S. history and stuff like
the Civil War, the
Oh, that's true.
Martin Luther King era. You can't even realistically talk about those things. Like they're saying, like that they're changing in the curriculum. Whether teachers do it or not, I don't know. But they're changing in the curriculum, saying that they said what was the main cause of the Civil War?
They said that the main cause of the Civil War wasn't because of slavery; it was because of like state
rights.
State rights. That's it, and that's just not true. And even if it is, even if it was, slavery was still a part of it. Like you have to mention it. Even if you change slavery from the big this is why it happened to making it a sub thing, like this also happened, you still have to talk about it. There's no getting around it.
And plus, like, if they were to take all of this out of the curriculum, because history is taught chronologically, what would you even say? Like, you're gonna skip like an entire 100-year, 500 period. You can't do that. Like, it's not gonna make any sense.
Yeah.
Because everything is rooted in racism, and like, if you're just gonna not talk about racism, then you're gonna have no history class. There's gonna be no point.
That's what I told Trang when she first told me. I was like, then why even have history class anymore?
Exactly.
What's the point?
I didn't thought it was real when I saw that, because I was like, they can't be serious. That's like basically, and it doesn't affect just your history class. It also affect your English classes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. But what do you call it? Like, I feel like the thing. I mean, all teachers teach differently, right?
Mhm.
And what you're going to hear from one teacher, or what you're going to get taught from one teacher, is not going to be the same as what you're going to be taught by another teacher. Makes sense.
But
So
that
I feel
also
like,
kind of scares me.
Right. But what I feel like about this bill being passed is that it gives teachers, like, I would have to say specifically more racist teachers, leeway to start, like, basically kind of changing history into a more like white supremacist like outlook. That was a really weird hand motion. I need to stop doing that.
They're polluting the minds of our kids.
Exactly.
When I grow up and I have kids, I'm gonna worry about what they're learning in class.
Exactly.
Especially with bills like this being passed, I'm gonna worry.
Yeah, I feel like this bill. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Just keep going, because I feel like we're gonna say the same thing. So keep going.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like this bill being passed affects the future generation more than it does us, in a sense, because we've been taught this stuff. We remember. But for the generations that weren't taught about this, if they stop teaching it, they're never gonna know. So it's their way of, like, it won't affect us, but if we don't tell the future generation, if we don't teach it to them, they're never going to know. So they're just going to erase it.
And we've also seen it.
Yeah.
Like with the George Floyd incident, with all of the horrible incidents, we've seen it. They don't have to teach it to us. We can. The kids aren't stupid.
Yeah.
Nobody in this call, or nobody in the entire server is stupid. So even if they didn't teach it, everyone's gonna see a black woman getting shot that's sleeping in her own bed, or a man who clearly wasn't being violent being held down by his neck and dying. Like, everyone's gonna see the constant that it's corrupt government people part of the government, whether that be a SWAT team, the Senate, a police officer, killing a black person or a Hispanic person, or even white people that tried to help black people at the Black Lives Matter campaigns. Like, anybody who opposes their specific views, they go after. And you see that every day.
So I actually read, or I tried to read, things like these are kind of hard to read. So I tried to read the bill that they passed, and along with all the the things that they're passing, stuff like that. So one thing that did it confused me a little bit, but it had this whole entire section that was basically just like, oh, like there just should be no discrimination in the classroom between sex, race. Well, it was really just about sex and race because nobody cares about sexuality. You could be homophobic if you want. Anyway, that's a different topic. But what do you call it? So it confused me because what the bill is essentially trying to do is say like, okay, we're gonna take all this no racism. I mean, no. Yes, wait, what? The whole bill is like
They're saying no, don't teach
don't
racism.
Teach racism.
Yeah.
Teach no racism, right? But then you have like
by erasing racism.
You have a whole section that's like no discrimination in the classroom.
We are so progressive.
Like, what? I know, right?
So what I'm getting
But-
from this,
She's so quirky.
right?
Oh, I was gonna say, but the thing is, if we don't teach the kids about how racism started and how it, like, how the people were trying to actively stop it, it's just gonna
It's
make
gonna
them feel
repeat it.
like it's okay to be
It's going to
racist.
repeat itself.
Exactly.
Exactly,
History will
yeah.
repeat itself.
History repeats
don't
itself
teach
unless you
it.
teach a generation otherwise. It's going to
That's the
repeat itself.
exact thing they teach you in history is if you don't teach somebody what happens in history, it's going to repeat itself.
It's gonna
And
happen
there's
again.
things in history that prove that it's happened before.
Mhm.
Although sometimes I feel like even if you teach history, like something just happened anyway. It's like you get
Yeah.
inspiration.
But I
from
mean,
history.
I guess it can prevent things. I feel like what they were trying to do with this bill, because you were saying like no discrimination in the classroom. They had the right idea but the wrong execution, you know?
Yeah.
This wasn't
No,
even the
that's
right
what I was thinking.
idea.
Well, okay,
'Cause,
no
like-
discrimination in the classroom is a good idea, but doing it by not teaching kids,
Yeah.
hey, the guys who wear white hoods, burn crosses, and kill innocent black people, they're not that bad.
Yeah, I
Like,
feel like
where's that going to get us as a
Uh-huh.
country? Not even
'Cause-
as a youth, as a country, where is that going to get us?
because they were trying to say like they don't want to teach that the KKK is morally wrong. So I think they want students to develop their own opinions. But
the
what-
KKK
That's
is
not an
morally
opinion.
wrong.
That's not
KKK.
the
That's not an
KKK is morally wrong. Like
as somebody who wants to grow up and have kids. Like, I really sincerely want to be a dad. If the teachers refuse to teach my kids that a thought process like that is not morally wrong, then I'm gonna have to, because they
Like-
need to know.
Right.
because are you like telling my kids that it's okay to kill people because of the color of their skin? That doesn't make any sense. Even if it's because there's things in history that you can make your own opinions on, whatever. Like there's people that think, oh, Hitler wasn't a bad person. Whatever. That's your opinion, I guess. You're kind of weird for that.
That's
But-
still kind of a wrong opinion.
You're kind
but
of
they
no,
still-
not
I see
weird,
what- I see what you're
wrong.
saying. I see what you're saying.
Like that he was a bad person. They still teach you what he did was morally wrong.
Right.
But like when it comes to this, you can't teach that the KKK was morally wrong because students can still form their own opinion. If you teach that what these people did was bad, some kid out there is probably going to be like, "Oh, it wasn't that bad because my mom and dad told me it wasn't bad." Whatever, you know.
Well,
There will always be those kids.
Yeah, it's not fair to starve an entire generation of what they need to learn, what
Knowledge.
like history, not like knowledge.
Teach kids what they need to be taught.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing that I found in the bill was that there was a line that said, it was basically just like, of course, everything in this bill doesn't exactly prohibit, it just takes out the
Dissuades.
requirement of it.
Mhm.
If that makes sense. So you obviously have a set requirement for the curriculum, but now they're just dropping requirements. So you can still teach it, but like it just like if you don't want to, or if you know what I mean. So basically one thing that was on there was like to not like teach things that are happening right now. Like current happenings, things like that.
Mhm.
You know, like if you were in a classroom and you were trying to talk about like let's say the most recent election that we had, like you're not allowed to talk about it. How do you think about that? Personally, I feel like that's terrible.
It's
I feel like
terrible
everybody
'cause
should know what's
One of
Yeah.
the most One of the most important things we learned last year was the stuff that we learned after the crazy Trump supporting people stormed the Senate.
Yeah, exactly. Like the conversations we had after all of that happened were really important.
Like I'd say learning about stuff like that is more important than learning about stuff that happened in freaking 1620, you know? Like that stuff is
Right.
still important, but we're not living in 1620. We're living right now.
That's so funny
Yeah,
you bring
like-
up that year. Because the next thing I wanted to talk about was the 1619 project.
Ooh.
Year off, but
Can you explain what that is?
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll-
I
please.
don't know what that is.
So the 1619 project is basically oh my god, I forgot the word. It's like a bunch of journalists just come together and write articles. They
A journalist gang.
It's a journal. Okay, sure, we can say that. So it's just like a very long article, basically talking about how all of oppressive history started at 1619, whenever slaves came to states, and it basically just talks about all the like things that you aren't taught about in history about slavery, and everything like that. So
Right.
that is what the 1619 project is. And the bill that has been passed is prohibiting teachers from teaching the 1619 project. Yeah, so it was something that came up when I was in my English class, because my English teacher had said, like, oh, I want to show you guys what the 1619 project is, because it came up with the conversation of this bill being passed. And he gave us a lot of resources and things like that, which I was really grateful for. But at the time, I unfortunately wasn't interested enough into reading it, and now I can't find resources for some reason. And the freaking New York Times article where you read it keeps asking me to like subscribe, and I don't want to. Which is that's a thing that I'm a little like.
Everybody
if
should have free access to stuff like that. But
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I was kind of.
I understand y'all need to make money, but come on now.
It's the
Yeah.
New York Times.
maybe just pass this one up a little bit. Like,
How much more money do y'all need?
Exactly.
Y'all been around since like 1400. I think y'all are good.
New York hasn't. Okay.
I know. I mean, what's that word?
Exaggeration.
No, there's no whatever.
Hyperbole.
It's an English term. Yes, hyperbole.
Hyperbole.
This is why kids
wasn't
need to stay in school.
Yeah, this is why they need to teach history.
Use that
Hyperbole.
word, Savannah.
Huh?
It's not even the way you use that word.
Yeah.
How do you use that in a use hyperbole in a sentence.
That sentence was a hyperbole.
Alrighty.
But I know how we were talking about how that even if they take it out, the teachers can still teach it, but wouldn't that just like make it seem like, oh, if I don't want to teach it, I don't have to teach it? And there are some racist teachers
Yeah.
that are teaching that won't teach it, and then which would lead to the next generation not knowing what it is, and then when it's time for them to be teachers or whatever, they wouldn't teach it to their kids, and so on and so forth.
And the next generation, it wouldn't even be their fault. They're not going to teach it because they're not going to know it.
Exactly.
Well, see, the thing
Like-
is, I have a thing about that, because I feel like already, even though they quote unquote have to teach it, I feel like racist teachers will bend it in a certain way to make
Yeah.
it seem like how they want to make it seem like.
Mm.
Because technically they're still quote unquote teaching it, I guess, but it's not full 100% how it really is. They just want to say it in a way that doesn't make themselves look bad.
Yeah, like I had a 7th grade teacher who tried to tell us, she was like, oh, well, slavery wasn't that bad. Like, there were some good slave owners that treated their slaves well. They're still slaves. What's good about
They're
that?
still slaves.
Nothing good about that.
Actually, I feel like an example to this was, I don't know how, okay? I don't even know how, but I think throughout most of my elementary school, for some reason, I thought that white people coming here and colonizing all the native people was a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Me
Like white
too.
saviorism, you know what I mean?
Everybody
I
thinks
was
that.
like, this Yeah, great,
But
awesome.
they're
No,
helping
and then
them. Oh my god.
especially with what they would teach us about Thanksgiving, like they had a
Yeah.
nice little family dinner and a turkey and a cornucopia, and they were all friends,
What's a
and
cornucopia?
nothing bad ever happened.
The
What is a
tube,
cornucopia?
the tube thingy, the little
The-
cone.
It looks like half of a crescent roll, to be
Yeah,
honest with
it
you.
looks like
and
half
it
of a
has like
You know, like
and it has like fruit coming out of it.
Yeah.
like a basket, kind of.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
a basket, but it's
I
shaped
know
like
what
a
you're
Yeah.
talking about. I know what you're
horn,
talking
kind
about.
of.
It's like a
Yeah.
horn thing, and yeah.
Oh.
Have you ever seen the
Oh,
brand?
no,
Have you ever
no,
seen the
I got
brand
it.
for Fruit of the Loom?
Yeah, Fruit of the Loom.
It's on that.
Actually, hold on. Does Fruit of the Loom even have a cornucopia? I heard that's a
I thought they do.
that's a Mandela effect.
Is that a Mandela
Oh.
effect?
I think it might
I
be.
think it is.
Mandela effects
Cultural
again.
connection.
Guys,
Holy
let's
cow.
not get off topic.
Kenneth was over here trying to find the picture.
I didn't even look it up. I was just saying. Anyway.
But see, history. You can
Wait, they
still
don't
teach
have
it.
it. I'm sorry. I looked it up.
I told you. Anyway, what
It's a Mandela effect.
as we were saying.
You can still teach history, but like mend it into your own twisted narrative, basically.
Right.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, I'm making a hand motion. Just a hand. I'm gonna stop making this. I'm gonna stop making this hand motion.
I'm gonna stop making.
Anyways,
Doing it.
my next thing I wanted to talk about, because I saw a lot of videos about this, was parents coming into what do you call it, like district meetings and assemblies and things like that, and being like, "No critical race theory. Do not teach it."
Or
I have a
Don't teach my
In so many videos. The same thing with like whenever we had the thing, you know that thing?
yes, I agree.
That
No,
thing.
I
Yes,
don't know
yes.
what thing.
It was
Alexia, you're like the
basically-
smartest person here.
I know, right?
Don't lie.
Anyway, where's he going?
As you were saying.
But basically was it a bill? I honestly can't remember. But about restrooms and transgender people.
Oh,
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know
So,
what you're talking about.
and we had like a lot of parents and a lot of students too, just like being like, we don't like, no, absolutely not. So that's also a thing that's happening right now. And they're basically saying like, end critical race theory. We don't need it. We don't
Cancel
we want our,
critical race.
Okay,
we
okay.
want our
Can I
children to be racist.
Can I get an explanation on what critical race theory is? I have a general
Wait,
conception, but I
I
don't know exactly what it is.
I have a definition from when I was doing research. Give me a second.
Good job.
Oh, look at her.
Yeah, me.
Somebody
Every
play Jeopardy.
time-
Somebody play Jeopardy music while she finds it.
If you guys all do it,
Shut up, Savannah.
Ah! Wait. I know I
Yeah.
did. It's somewhere. Give me a minute, please.
Take your time.
Okay.
Okay.
go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Wait.
Oh God.
Okay.
Critical
More?
race theory is an academic term that studies how race and racism have impacted social and local structures in the United States. I told you I had it.
Good
I
job.
mean, you didn't
good
have
job.
it ready, but you had it.
Yeah.
I did have it.
She
There
just
you go.
aggressively looked it up online.
She's
I
like,
had the tab still open from my article.
Good
Sorry,
job.
Brett.
I accidentally clicked on an article because I had opened up the internet, and it's about critical.
Oh, there you go.
I like how you're trying to show it, but I can't see
Yeah, it's
anything. Like, praise
You
you.
see, like right here.
White.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I can
right
see it. Oh yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Yeah, looks great.
Uh-huh.
hmm
Mhm.
Looks amazing. Anyways, that is what critical race theory is. Surprisingly,
All right, thank
Kenneth
you.
didn't ask that.
Oh, because I
It's not
already
even
knew what
paying
it was
'Cause
'cause
I-
of
yeah.
Mr. KP Daniels.
Leave him alone.
Hey,
Wrong.
I didn't. He got on my nerves, but he knows his things.
Oh,
Next week's
I got a
topic,
2 on my
doxing.
AP English test.
Wait, what?
I got a 2 on my AP.
I can teach you guys how to dox people. I've done it before.
Well, we don't need. Okay, let's get back on.
Okay.
Okay, critical race.
Hey, FBI.
Critical race theory.
All right.
Anyway, talking about
It's not even race. It wasn't even just race. They were talking about like not teaching about like women's suffrage and stuff.
they just
the
don't want
bill.
to teach anything about oppressed people.
Just
Only white
cancel
men.
school, bro. Just don't send
Bro,
us to
There's
school.
no
just-
point in that.
Don't
Exactly.
drop out of school. Anybody who's
I can
listening to this,
teach-
I want you to
I can
don't
teach-
this.
No,
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Stay
Don't do
in
that.
School,
We're
kids.
Stay
going
in
on
school.
strike.
Stay in school. Stay in school. Don't be stupid.
And then drop out. Oh.
And then well, no, stop.
But
We're going
when?
on
But
strike.
if they're
We're
not
going on a
teaching you-
strike. We're just gonna mass drop out.
Mass dropout.
Mass
drop.
dropout.
But it takes so much money to drop out.
It does, and it's a lot of paperwork too.
They make you pay for it?
Yeah.
do.
Damn. I guess I'm staying in school.
I only have 2 more years. Calm down.
Shut up. Anyways, critical race theory.
Critical race theory. No, like they wanted to take women's suffrage out and everything, and kind of just like, so they're just gonna skip over the fact that women
Dog.
couldn't vote.
If you care that much about not teaching your kids that kind of stuff, just send them to a private school, bro. It's the same
Don't send
thing.
them to school.
You just don't say.
I
Just
mean, like,
homeschool
no.
them. Just homeschool them. If you're
I
Just-
thought you
that
were
bad,
gonna be like,
if you're
just don't
that-
send them to school.
Yeah, like just like either
Just-
homeschool them or send them to private school, because private schools don't even teach that kind of stuff. I mean, like if it's a private school, I mean, I don't know much
Under
about
like
private schools,
Catholic school.
but yeah, like a Catholic school, they're not gonna teach. They're probably not
They'll
gonna
teach
teach
you
that.
the history of
Critical
Jesus
God
Christ.
theory.
Jesus
Critical God
Christ.
theory.
our Lord and
Critical
Savior.
Critical
religious
God
theory.
theory.
Critical
Yeah.
religious theory. Critical Jesus theory. They'll teach you about critical Jesus theory.
Oh man.
I mean, Jesus, the Bible itself is a whole history. book.
Jesus
I don't-
Bible.
The Jesus.
The Jesus
But-
Bible.
But that's
Yes.
not the big issue, Kenneth, because what if people can't afford to homeschool their kids or to put them in private schools
Think of the
and
poor
they have to
people.
right.
rely?
I think it was
Poor
more
people.
Trang. I think it was more of a joke.
Yeah,
Oh, but I'm saying,
Think of the
even,
poor
like,
people.
yeah, think of the poor people.
yeah. Think of the
Kenneth.
poor racist people. Come on.
Oh, well.
Yeah, we are talking about racist people here.
Oh, I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
I know.
Because he said if you really care that much about not teaching your kids about race, not teaching your
Oh,
kids
no, I
about the
thought
struggles
you
of
said-
women,
I thought it was the other way.
then
I
just
thought it was the
homeschool
other
them.
way.
Then
Yeah.
just
No, I thought
homeschool
it was
them.
the other way.
And then Trang's over here like, but wait.
I thought it was the
But
other
what
wait.
if they're
way.
poor?
What if they're poor?
Yeah, but what if they're poor?
I know that they're racist, but what if they're poor?
What if they're in the
I don't care that
they're in the
you're
bottom 1%?
The
But
bottom.
Yeah.
I thought it was the other way around. I really
was-
thought
I
that.
thought it was like if you care so much like about your children actually or wait, what?
Yeah, I
No,
thought it
private
was
You
Oh,
care
like-
so much
like-
about your
teach that.
children not learning.
Oh no,
the
no,
right
no,
history.
that's not what I meant. Yeah.
Oh,
I
I'm
feel like
sorry.
I feel like if this bill went into place, I could probably teach my kids history better than schools can.
I think
And
you
I'm willing
already
to put
can teach
I'm
history
willing to
better
put
than
money on that.
I'm-
With no, you don't even have to give me like a curriculum book. Like just off the top of my head, I could teach my kids more about history than schools would be allowed to. And I would put money on that.
Exactly. I feel like for some classes, like you just don't learn enough. And if you have your parents, like somebody who's with you all the time to teach you all the history in the world or whatever, like you'll be able to get through all that stuff. You don't get
Mhm.
enough time in school to actually learn about all forms of history.
True.
And then not many people are even going to not understand but pay attention. And I'm a very prime example of that.
Yeah.
I don't like
Me
history.
too.
I do
Not
not.
paying attention in school.
I mean, I don't like school in general. I mean, like, if you want to talk about school as a whole, outside of just like, oh, it's boring, I don't want to go to school, or like, oh, I wish I could do something else, because very few people want to go to school. Like, when
Right.
it starts here in a couple weeks, I'm going to go because I have to, not because I want to.
Right.
But I think I think this is relevant to the topic, I guess. Like, schools are just, the whole school system as a whole is just
It's
not
shitty.
good.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
actually, you know
And
what?
things like this make it worse. I
Right.
mean, like, especially Bush.
George
Nope.
Bush. George
George
Yeah.
Bush, the president.
Yes,
The
George Bush, the president.
not our president right now.
Yes, did
Former
not mean to say
Yeah,
that.
former
George
President
H.W. Bush.
George W.
Former
Bush
President
Oh my God,
George
sucks.
W.
that's gonna be our
Bush.
next guest.
Yes, our next guest, former
Is
Is
president.
he dead?
That's George
You
H.W.
get
Bush.
the
That's
we
yeah.
the
H
difference?
H.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
Former
What's the
president.
difference?
The
Okay,
H-
this is
The
about
letter?
to spiral
Father
off.
and
All I
son?
did was accidentally say a word I didn't mean to.
Okay, keep
At-
going with what you were saying.
At schools, especially the schools that I have gone to, the teachers the teachers care. The staff and the principal does not.
do not.
They
The
don't.
They really
I mean,
don't.
like, the administration doesn't. The teachers, especially at the school that I'm going to right now, the teachers,
we're
you can
going to.
tell. Yeah, okay, that we're all going to.
We're all
You can tell. You can tell that you can tell that 80% of these teachers genuinely care and love what they do, you know? And you can tell that they want to teach their kids every single thing that they can. Like every
Right.
good thing, every bad thing, everything, you know, even if it's hard to swallow, you know, because
Right.
sometimes there are things that they're going to teach us that you're going to hear and you're going to be like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Because that's what history is. It's a lot of looking back and being like, what the
stuff.
fuck were they thinking, you know?
Exactly.
Like, what the hell was going on back then, you know? But
Mhm.
like the administrations in schools, not even just ours, in schools, just do not care. So they're going to let things like this slide, whereas the teachers are going to be the ones speaking out, and then the administration is going to be like, oh no, don't speak, don't make it worse, blah blah blah, because they don't care about how we grow.
They just
They
care
don't.
about the money. That's
Yeah,
They
what
just
we
care about the
Exactly.
money that they
That's what
make.
care about.
And the thing about these teachers is teachers don't make a lot of money. So you know that if somebody's a teacher that genuinely cares, like not just because they happen to become a teacher, teachers that actually care aren't there for the money. You don't get paid jack shit as a teacher. You just don't. But they're there because they want to be the people helping the next generation, making they're making the people who in I don't know what we're about to be 18 seniors, we're about to be running this country.
We're running this world. Sorry.
Like we're about to be running we're about to be
Friend-
running this country, and we need to thank the teachers, we don't need to thank school. We need to thank teachers, not the administration, not the freaking Senate trying to pass bills like this, pacifying what we can and can't learn. The teachers are ushering in the next generation, and you can tell that, like, teachers, even ones that are crazy like Mr. Daniels, like you can tell that he's still teaching because he wants kids to know stuff, even if he goes to the extreme with it.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I feel like, well, I mean, it's still on the topic of school. I mean, this whole thing is literally about school. But there's so many
This
things.
isn't perfect time for school.
I know, and
So many
school's about
things
to
that
start.
don't even apply to race. Just literally everything in the book, from sexism to homophobia to assault, like literally everything bad.
Honestly, if you ask me, I think they need to teach more about schools.
About what?
About homophobia, like
Yeah.
No,
especially
they
like when they get into recent times, like they need to talk. The crap. What was the bar that got shut up in Orlando? Was it Orlando?
Pulse nightclub.
Oh
Yes, that got the gay bar that got shut up, and they need to talk about things like that because
Nobody mentions that. Actually, you're right. Like,
yeah,
no one
nobody
really
talks
brings it
about
up.
stuff
I
like
genuinely forgot that.
nobody
happened.
talks about homophobia in school. They don't. They teach about racism and sexism, which they need
It's because, like, I feel like not like much. I wouldn't say okay. I wouldn't say like everybody knows racism is bad, because there's a lot of racist people out there. But I'd say a lot of people disagree with racism nowadays. But a lot of people don't disagree on homophobia, and a lot of people are still homophobic nowadays. So which probably includes a lot of our staff and like a lot of our administration and like all the higher ups in the district, they could probably be homophobic too. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious they wouldn't want to teach like, oh, it's okay to be LGBTQ because they don't want it.
They don't want it.
They
I
don't
feel
want
like hopefully, at least, I mean, we're going to be the generation that's going to be teaching the next generation and things like that. And I feel like with this generation, we have such a like we know a lot, at least because social media and things like that.
Technology. It's technology. That's the big difference.
And I feel like a lot more people are a lot more accepting of homosexuality. So I'm hoping that in the generations to come, homophobia and homosexuality will start to be taught, because that's just I just feel like there is a big history with homosexuality, and the fact that it's not being taught, and the fact that you're having people being really ignorant, to this and growing up to be homophobic, like it's so sad, because there's so many people out there who, are homosexual.
Oh, and the fact that they'll cover up that historical figures were part of the LGBTQ community. Like, you're telling me John F. Kennedy lived with a man that he was very publicly intimate with, and he wasn't bisexual. That's what you're telling me.
What bothers me is Alexia talking about the history of LGBTQ people, and Savannah saying that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't, and I consider myself a part of that group, and I don't even know the history.
Yeah, exactly, because they cover it up for me. Like, there's allegedly Alexander Hamilton was LGBTQ.
Really?
Are you sure you're just not getting that?
Nobody start singing. Nobody start singing. Nobody start singing.
Well, what was it? The Miku Binder?
Miku Binder Thomas
Jefferson. Okay. All right. Critical race theory.
No, but what's his name? James Buchanan. He's not a famous president.
James Buchanan.
James Bunkin.
James Duncan.
Wait, guys, I'm sorry, but anyways, on that topic, he's like one of like. In history, if you're like, who's like the gayest president, it's him.
The gayest president.
On the next episode of Cultural Connection,
James Buchanan. Dude, I can just imagine that on a test. I can just imagine that on a test. Who was the gayest president? James Buchanan, John F. Kennedy, James. What was it? Buchanan? What?
James Bunkin.
Buchanan, that was it.
Buchanan.
But
dude, I didn't know what she was talking about when she first said that. I had to sit here for a second, and I was like, talking about Buchanan? Where did you get the end? Where did you get the end at the beginning? You said Bunchanan. Where is that?
Maybe she can't read. Leave her alone.
I know. Stay in school, kid.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have told everybody to drop out.
Speaking of school.
But what do you call it? I mean, like, talking about homosexual history, do you guys even know what the Stonewall Inn was?
I do, yeah.
I do know what that is. Yes.
I was about to say
personal research. No one has taught me to that in my life.
And I don't know. That's the first one.
Okay, personally, this is my fault. I know what it is, but I don't know what it is because I didn't pay attention. But I do. I was taught it. I was taught it.
You were taught it? I was not taught that.
I had dual credit, so it was kind of different.
Oh, loser!
No,
Nerd.
That's not a loser moment. That's a good moment. I wish
Yeah.
I would.
There was
I would have liked it.
There was the Stonewall riot and something else. There were two main things. I forgot what it was, but it was two main things that very much had to do with history on that, and like, sorry, I lost my words, and then just like homophobia and stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about? Just
I think the only thing that I've learned about like homosexuality in history is AIDS.
Yeah,
that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing.
Yeah, they're like teaching the negatives. They're like teaching the negatives
in health class, but they'll never teach you about like Marsha P. Johnson. I dead
Exactly.
ass did not know who this was.
Who is
I
that?
only knew because of Twitter.
Marsha P.
I only knew
Johnson
because of
was
Twitter.
Marsha P. Johnson was a black trans woman. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
was and was like a pioneer in like the LGBTQ rights and stuff.
Transphobia too. Let's not
Yeah,
leave
transphobia.
transphobia
Totally.
outside of
They
homophobia. Let's
Mhm.
not, because that is a whole, even like talking about homophobia and transphobia, you were talking about two completely different ballparks.
Exactly.
Because
Mhm.
transphobia is a thing that's starting to emerge now because it's becoming more, I guess,
Despite the fact that trans
mainstream.
people have existed throughout like all of history.
Mhm.
Dude, even okay, and this is one of the craziest things that I've ever read, because I didn't even know this, and I consider myself a Christian person, and I've read the Bible, and I
Mhm.
did not know, and I guess I was too young when I read this to understand it. The Bible talks about trans people at the beginning, where people are like, trans people are ungodly. There were literally in Judaism, there were 6 genders to begin with.
Oh wow.
It was men, females, I guess like not tomboys, but like women who show more
Masculine.
More
masculine
masculine
traits,
women.
more feminine men,
Mhm.
people who switch between the two, so non-binary,
Gender
or
fluid.
people who didn't have genders at all.
Right.
So there were 6, and people
Mhm.
are like, the Bible says that this is wrong. That doesn't even
Where?
make sense.
Point it
Where?
out to me.
Tell me
Show
where.
me.
God made 6
Open the
genders.
book and show me.
Yeah,
What page
God
does it
made
say?
six
What
genders.
page? What chapter? Because
For
the
real.
one
What
thing they love
chapter?
to say is like, God made you this way. What? Like God? They're like, God made you this gender, and I don't know why you're trying to change it. Why
No,
did
but
God
they
make you
pick and
transgender then?
choose
Because
from the Bible to
yeah.
like fit whatever they want to say. Like
you
you're not
don't
even
choose
supposed
to be
to eat.
like you don't choose that. Like I don't know why you would choose to be oppressed, because like you don't choose like being gay or being I literally just forgot the word.
Trans.
Trans. You can't choose to be transphobic. But you can't choose to be like transgender or gay. It's just like it's just who you are.
It's in your brain.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, well, God like doesn't want you to, then why did he make me like that?" Because
Yeah.
they say like God made you a certain way. So why did he make me gay? Why did he, like that doesn't make any sense. If he
It
hates
sounds
gay
like you're
people,
questioning yourself right now.
No!
You're like,
Are
why?
you speaking to yourself? Are you like
So Anna's like,
validating your
why did
thoughts?
God make me gay?
My parents in the other room are like, "Oh." No,
Like,
but it's like,
Savannah's what? No,
Um,
it's bad, especially because I know trans people, and I've been friends and really close with some trans people, and it's pretty sad. Where I had a trans friend about that I was really close to about
I'm so
a
sorry.
year.
You're so close to the mic right now.
I know.
I had
like-
I had a trans friend that I was close to about a year
Uh-huh.
ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. And she would check the news every day when she woke up. But not just like the normal news. Like she would check the news about like for like transgender people, like stuff that happens to transgender people. And I didn't know until I became really close with her that it's not just like when you hear on the news like once a month a transgender person was murdered or something. She would read me the news every day, and it happened every single day.
Wait, that's a really good point though, because I read that black trans women have a life expectancy of like 35.
Yeah.
For context, the average life expectancy
It's like 60
is like
something.
72, 75,
I thought it was
something like that.
73.
You know what
I
that
don't
gets
know.
for me?
I think it's like
That's what that
70.
gets.
It's like 73 for men and 75 for women, I think, is the average life expectancy. So that's 40 something less years just because you're a black trans woman.
No, and I think it was for an English project where Nick helped me write a paper about like how the police treat like different people, and trans people when they need help, they like the policemen choose to ignore them and basically leave them there for dead.
Oh,
Like
dude,
whether it's a car
the
accident.
There's
the
laws
statistics were baffling. I mean, I did some research. I was helping her with her English, talking about like the police system in America. And in an article I came across was talking about trans people and cops, and I was sitting there reading it with my mouth on the freaking floor. Like, I didn't know this because there's so much, and I'm not saying this like it's a bad thing. I don't mean to make this a negative thing because it's not. But there's so much hyper focused attention on how cops treat black people.
Right.
That sometimes other things get overshadowed. I understand we need to be talking about how cops treat black people, but we need to pile more on top of cops, to be honest with you. They treat trans people awful. They treat gay people awful. I mean, the system inside and out is corrupt with anything, you know.
Right.
I feel that when I handle with a cop, that for the most part, I'm going to be fine, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, even, yeah, no, exactly. Because I'm a white person. I'm a white man, you know. So, and that's just the reality. That's the harsh reality of the situation. Is when I talk to a cop, you know, I don't necessarily feel panicked, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I know not all cops are awful people. I have relatives that are cops, but the system is wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
It is indescribably awful that I can have an interaction with a cop and be relatively secure in my safety. I mean, I don't necessarily always feel 100% because some cops are just straight up bad people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, for the most part, I think if they're going to do something, it's not going to be because I'm white. You know, if anything, I feel like more cops would do something rash towards me because I'm a teenager. You know,
Mm.
Oh,
if
that's true.
anything, because I'm a youth, and you know, some cops are just like, oh, all these youth are out here smoking weed. Well, I feel like that is a million times. It is a million times likely that a cop did something rash towards me because I'm a teenager rather than because I'm. But a black person doesn't, or even a trans person, or a gay person, or I mean, there are a lot of Asian people in this call, and I'm gonna assume that none of y'all feel 100% safe when y'all
I
are
only
talking to
feel
a
safe
cop.
when I'm with my dad. That's
My
it.
point.
I wouldn't say I don't feel safe. Like, well, honestly, I don't feel safe near a cop because cops. I don't know. Cops just have always scared me.
I don't like.
There's,
Okay,
like,
I just don't
no
like cops. I
security
don't like
around.
cops in general, just because of how I grew up with cops in general. But that
just-
aside, is just if you put that aside, I don't have to necessarily worry as much as y'all do, and y'all don't necessarily have to worry near as much as a black person or a trans person.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is unfortunately just the harsh reality of the situation. That you know, I can sit here and admit that I can talk to a cop feeling relatively safe. Because, man,
And
you know,
like on the
which
topic of school, they don't teach about police brutality either because they want you to believe that all police are good people, but surprise, they're not.
go ask a little boy. Go ask a little boy what he wants to be for when he grows up. Like 2 out of 10 of them are gonna say they want to grow up and I want to be a police officer.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
you don't. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
It's just so weird that police officers only have such little like training to enforce the law.
Yes.
But for someone who, like a lawyer, for example, they have like how many years of like school do they need
Like,
to
it's
do
like
to be able
10.
to?
Think about the
Law
difference
school,
between becoming a
not like
cop.
hard.
Think about the difference between becoming a cop and a.
And a what?
We need doctors
Teacher or a
so
doctor?
Oh, a
much.
doctor?
A doctor,
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
like going to medical school. First of all, it's
Oh,
money
yeah,
out
some
the. It's
doctors,
money.
like,
It is
you have to
money
take
out
like
the
8
ass.
years or something.
It is like 10 years.
yeah,
It is like 10 years of school, something like that.
Yeah.
And you
To
can
be
become
like a
and then you have to do
professional.
you can
Well,
turn
it depends
18.
on what you want to do, but it's
Yeah, like
not
if you want like
binding.
like a I don't know, like
Like
a
a-
doctorate or something. I don't know. Or a PhD, yeah. Because I've seen like some doctors will have to have like 8, 10, even 12 years of schooling to do what they need to do, but a cop needs like 6 months training.
Yeah, and you can become a cop in like 6 months.
But speaking of that, I was watching the news the other day, and the Houston Police Department has put something in place that now police officers, this is all because of the George Floyd incident, by the way, that they're putting this in place. Police officers now have a duty to step in if they see their other police officer is doing like bad shit, you know.
Can we get a round of applause for that? Jesus
But
Christ.
that's the thing. They
That
still
is-
would
that's
like
the bare
support
minimum,
them.
Yeah, it's
I was
no,
saying,
and
bare
then,
minimum.
and
they
that's
also
the
said, like,
problem.
they're
That's the
having
problem.
more training now as well. Like you have to have they called it de-escalation training, which is a step forward,
Wow,
but like
the
bare minimum.
Yeah,
like
this
bare
Oh my
minimum.
god, bare minimum. Wow.
They're
it's
doing their
so-
guys. They're doing their.
They're doing their very best.
I feel so like
No,
it
they're
really
not.
it really aggravates me. There's a police brutality. It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. Because you have people who are supposed to be helping you, right? People who are you're supposed to find some type of sense of security in when something
Protection.
bad happens. Yeah,
Mhm.
protection. And then they just don't. They just don't. If anything, you're scared of what is supposed to be protecting you. And
Yeah.
that's so messed up. That's so messed
You
up.
can't feel safe anywhere anymore.
Exactly.
Like being a woman, like I'm genuinely afraid of like calling a police officer when I'm in need and getting like sexually assaulted or sexually harassed or raped or any of that.
the
because-
movie that we're watching.
Yeah, the movie that we were watching, we
Um,
for context, me and Alexia and Kenneth watched a movie called The Poughkeepsie Tapes, where the criminal, he was like a serial killer, and he would portray himself as a police officer, and then he went and picked up. This doesn't really pertain to like actual police officer, but he would go and pick up like, or maybe he was a police officer. I don't even know.
No. Okay, no. I mean, so there was a scene that this woman, her car broke down, and the serial killer was in a police car, and he went to go pick her up, and then raped and killed her, basically. But
Yep.
the scene it can happen to anybody. It can happen
Yeah,
to
because
any
there's
woman,
nothing you
and
can
it's
do
so
in that
common.
situation.
Exactly. We were
Because
even
there's
talking
no
about, like,
handles
what
on the
would you do in that
doors.
situation? Like,
Yeah.
how would you get out of that?
You literally can't. You just have to like, kind of bad phrasing, but I told Alexia, I was like, you just have to take the L. Because there's literally nothing you can do. Like,
Okay.
Oh,
there's
God.
literally nothing you can do.
Okay.
Because
Getting
there's
raped?
no
Take
handles-
the L.
Because there's
No,
no handles
that's
on
not-
the doors. There's there's I guess it's like a cage sort of thing between
Great.
you and the cop. So you
We
can't
give
Cop
them
cars
so much
are
power.
built.
Yes,
Oh.
they're built.
Yeah, I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you. Cop cars are built for people in the back to not be able to get out.
Yeah.
Right.
So if the cop wants to abuse their power, what? You can't do anything. Nothing you
Exactly.
can do.
It's you
And
put a
they
gun
have
on, you put a gun on a white person's hip, and all of a sudden they have a god complex.
That's
Oh
true.
my god, talking about gun control as well. There was a song that was talking about gun control.
Gun control.
I'm sorry.
Tron.
Like police
Continue.
and their guns. Their little pew pew thingies, right? And
Pew,
The
pew.
little pew pews.
the little pew pews.
They're little unregulated weapons.
There was apparently in police, like whenever you learn to be a police trainings,
Police officer.
they basically train you like you shoot before you ask questions. Shoot before you ask questions.
Wow, so
And the
great.
whole entire
Thanks.
song even
Yes.
had like a clip of-
Protection.
the whole entire song even had like a clip at the end where it was like was it my god or your gun or something like that, or my god and my gun. And the whole entire thing was just in police training. They're teaching people to just shoot before they ask questions. Just like if you see a person doing a bad thing, don't ask them questions, just kill them like right away.
Wow.
It doesn't even
so
matter what they're doing,
thoughtful.
just kill them right away. If you want to listen to that song, it's called, wait, I don't even think I can say the name because it's kind of
Just say it.
it's by JPEG Mafia, so obviously it has a whack ass name. Love that man though.
I'll say just if you're interested in listening to the song, go look up J.
Yeah, it's just JPEG Mafia. and then look up police, and I'm pretty sure it'll come up. And you'll have a very fun title waiting for you. It's amazing.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I'll
Jesus,
put a
You put a
that
what?
probably considering it's JPEG Mafia.
Huh?
You cut off.
Like if you're not old enough, don't go look stuff up like that.
Yeah, probably
Yeah,
shouldn't.
Which
18
is
plus?
another thing that pertains to school. I think the censorship of what people learn to a certain degree at a certain age, I understand. You can't throw racism on a 12-year-old.
No,
Like
I
I
don't
mean,
agree with
you
that.
can
Yeah,
teach
true.
them the basics of it, but just all out being like, white people, they took black people and they literally just raped them on boats and then made them do manual. There's gonna be some like 7-year-old like, what? You know,
Yeah.
like they're not the brain at a young age isn't built to handle stuff like this. If this bill had just been aimed towards like 6th grade and down, I wouldn't have batted an eye. I would have been like, okay, they're just making sure we don't traumatize kids. But
Yeah, like to an extent, I
No.
think like censorship, like I feel like it's important to teach about it maybe at a certain age because like if you're trying to explain the concept of slavery and racism to someone who's in elementary school, it's probably not going to soak in. Like I don't think they're going to understand it.
like that's
But, like,
a heavy
I
subject.
feel like to like maybe middle schoolers, it's like explaining the basics of slavery and then gradually delving deeper as they get older and are more capable of understanding like the brutality of it and like how
Yeah.
it really was.
Okay. No, because for a second I thought you meant just like not teach. You can't not teach racism. To
Yeah,
these
No,
don't-
no, that's
because
not
that's
what I mean.
like, you know, I don't know. It just
I just mean like
put a bad
at a
taste in my
young
mouth.
age, stand a little bit of censorship because you need to get these kids in the right direction before you just push them into the raping Africa. You know, like you can't
Right.
just start with the everybody was like, let's see who can rape Africa the fastest, which is what happened.
That's
what
literally what
happened.
pretty
happened.
much. Yeah.
It was literally just like England and even some
Belgium,
of China and
Italy, literally Italy too.
literally they were all just like, let's see who can rape China the fastest. And then they
China?
did. And not China. Let's
Hold
see
on.
let's see who can rape Africa the fastest. And that's what they did. You know? So but you can't just push like a 13-year-old right into that, you know? Like I understand a little bit of censorship as you're growing, but the censorship slowly needs to be stripped away to the point that, you know, at our age, they need to be telling us, you know, these guys would just put these black people on boats, they would rape the women, they would strip the kids from the parents, and they would sell them. That's just a harsh reality.
Right.
Putting that on a 12-year-old is kind of rough, but at a
That is
certain
true.
age,
It's kind of rough.
yeah.
The L, bro.
I mean,
yeah.
No.
but I think at this age we're more than capable of understanding and like
We're mature enough.
comprehending.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're not mature enough, you probably need
Yeah, I
Take
don't
back a few
Yeah.
years. And...
you probably need to catch up.
I still think at least to like some extent racism should be taught.
yeah, some
Oh no,
definitely
it
be
needs
taught,
to
just,
be
like-
let in. You need to be let in.
maybe
What?
like middle school you're kind of like dipping your toes in like
yeah,
kind
it's kind of like
understanding the basics.
kind of like dipping your toes in a pool before you just jump in.
Yeah.
Like you need to teach a little bit of it. Don't overbear these kids with the
Right.
craziest stuff that happened, you know.
But it's just like kids
it
listen
always needs
anyway.
to be taught.
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is kids are gonna see it anyways. You're gonna
That's
have
true, yeah.
like kids seeing like, oh, like on the news or something. It's like, oh, mommy, why did this white person kill like 4 black women who were, I mean,
Well,
doing nothing?
wouldn't that be on the parents' plate to educate their kids to
Well-
be like good children?
Yeah,
think,
that's an entirely different.
I think
Con-
like if the kid is curious about it, it wouldn't be like you could ask the teacher.
Not even that.
I mean,
It's
like
just
if
like,
they're
oh,
curious.
why is this person treating me differently, even though I didn't do
True.
anything? You know what I mean?
But like it's not like racism should definitely be taught at an early age. Just
Mhm.
like
slowly.
know.
Slowly. I
not
think that's
I
the
would
word.
say like amount that you would need for a child to comprehend it. Like,
Yeah.
just like, not like water it down, but dumb it down for a child to understand. You know what I mean?
Like you
Mhm.
show them the big picture, and then slowly you show them
Go into
You
like
give them more
Yeah, you
detail, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see. I mean, I guess it's more like showing them what's happening now and then showing them the history of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes
kind of
more
like that.
Okay. But that is going to be all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much, Nick, for being our guest.
Thank you for having me.
I think we've had we had a really great conversation with you.
I would say this was actually a very good conversation. You don't have
of
conversations
which-
like this a lot, so thank you for having me on.
Some of which we could elaborate on in future episodes. Stay tuned,
That
guys.
is true.
So, I have to
Woo!
do another episode. Watch our other episodes.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
have
check them
7
out.
of them.
I haven't guested before, but check them out. You know, if this is your first episode, first of all, why are you?
Why are you
What is
Uh,
he saying?
Cut off again.
You cut
Oh,
out.
I cut off again. What I said was, go check out the other podcast episodes if you haven't. If you haven't, I don't know why you're starting on 8. That's kind of weird, bro. But
You're right.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
true.
little weird.
What if 8's your
Uh,
favorite number?
I don't care.
What
That's
if they're-
still just weird. Just go in order.
That's a personal problem, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of a personal thing. My favorite number is 7, but you're not gonna catch me watching the episode first.
Really?
But yeah, go check that out. Thank you for having me.
No problem. We'll
Yeah.
definitely have you as a guest again.
I would say
we
I'd
even
lo-
had
I'd-
Kenneth
I'd-
talk more than usual.
Wow.
Oh,
Good job,
Yeah.
Kenneth. You talked for like a whole 5 minutes.
Yeah, you talked for like 5 minutes, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Good
No,
job.
which is really good for him because usually this is him the whole time.
well, that was me like half of the time right now.
Which is
but-
even better,
Wow.
Kenneth.
It's okay because
Good
you guys
job.
you guys were going
so
off.
proud of
You guys were going off, and that's
I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you.
I probably wouldn't have added much, so that's okay.
But please subscribe, like the video, and
Subscribe to them.
Smash that like button.
Oh my
Follow
god!
us on Twitter
finally-
to make Alexia happy,
Please.
because
I was
she
gonna
won't
get to
shut up
that.
about it.
Shut up, Savannah. I was gonna get to that. Anyways, finally, I'm not the only one following our Twitter
Who's
account.
following it?
Woo!
I don't know, but
I
God
think
bless
it's my
that person.
friend.
I don't
I
have
think it is
anything to
my
plug,
friend.
so I don't have anything to plug, so I'm gonna just say
Oh, actually, we
Oh.
just started an Instagram account. So
Oh,
also
yeah, we
follow our
did.
Instagram
Script,
account.
and you guys
That's right. I followed
Yes.
that one.
completely
I
ignored
followed
the
that
script.
one.
we had
Because I
such
followed you guys
good
first.
structure. We had such good structure, and then the signing out. Let's go.
Follow our Twitter and Instagram. It's the same.
Please.
Do that.
Same thing.
Continuing with what I wrote, we do have an Instagram account now, and
Oh.
following on there is striving better than our
Thanks.
Twitter account. Whatever. Link to all socials will be in the description box down below. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.
I like how sometimes we point down as if they can see.
Yep.
Oh, can they not see us? Then why do we turn our cameras on?
So
Before
we
we
see each other.
before we end the episode, what is our next guest going to be?
George
H.
Oh yeah,
George
George
H.W.
H.W. Bush.
I've already talked about
George
this.
W.
I already
George
said it was
H.W.
Bush.
Bush.
Okay.
George Bush, just George
It's
Bush.
gonna be
George-
George, not
one of them.
HW.
Yeah,
not
just-
not
oh.
HW.
Not
Maybe
for
we'll
any
bring them
dead.
both.
not for
No,
any
we don't.
specific
we
reason.
can always bring the dead
Earth.
back to life.
The dead, we can bring the dead back. We could try.
The dead.
The dead.
We can bring
I
a
hate
Ouija board.
Luigi board?
You know what? That's
Luigi
it.
board?
Next week's guest is gonna be a
Ouija
inanimate, or is gonna
It's
be
gonna
a
be a
animate.
hologram of George H.W. Bush.
Okay. It's gonna be an AI programmed to think like George
George
H.W.
So excited.
So excited, guys. But